Lenox Jane Doe, identified as Brenda Sue Olinger Black. Brenda was last in contact with her family between 1980 and 1981. She would have been about 26 at the time. She had graduated from high school in Oregon and moved to an undisclosed city in California. She was reported missing at some point and entered into the NamUs directory in 2015. She was actually found a year after she disappeared, along Interstate 80 near New Lenox, Illinois. She was partially skeletonized, and plant growth had concealed the area. She died elsewhere and was transported to the scene. Authorities believe she was around 25 or older, 5'4" to 5'5". They did a clay recreation in 2014 in hopes of identifying her, but that unfortunately didn't work. They revised the creation in 2016, regressing her age to show her a little bit younger. Brenda's brother, Allie Black, actually contacted authorities in 2016 after seeing a report about the buckskin girl, believing that Jane Doe could be his sister. However, the buckskin Jane Doe was identified as Marcia King. He told authorities that Brenda had moved around a lot, and this was why she wasn't initially reported missing. It's unclear who her daughter was living with at the time, but it doesn't appear she was with her mother. She is mentioned in passing about giving her DNA in order to identify her mom. Brenda's brother also donated DNA for identification. It was not until Othram became involved that DNA would be the answer. She was identified just 1 week short of the 41st anniversary of her discovery. Othram had used forensic genealogy to locate relatives, eventually requesting DNA from Brenda's daughter. Brenda Sue Black went unidentified for 40 years. The Lake Mead bodies. Plunging water levels in the desert made for some shocking discoveries in May of 2022. Lake Mead is located in Nevada. First, there was the case of a man in a barrel, half buried in the sand, in an area that was 100 feet below water and hundreds of feet from shore, meaning someone dumped the barrel into very deep water with the idea it would never be found again. Climate change had other ideas, however. As the water receded, it was not only his remains that were found, but there was another case close by. The first discovery was in a barrel. A man had been shot and buried inside. It had all the markings of a Las Vegas-style mob hit. Back in the 1970s, Las Vegas was the mob's paradise, and it is believed that this barrel dates to that same era. Perhaps even more incredible than finding a barrel that was dumped in water 50 years ago, Othram Labs believes that they can get an ID. Othram Labs previously identified a man who took the life of a young woman in Las Vegas using just 5 human cells. It was something previously thought impossible. Othram explained to Fox News that by comparison, if someone were to touch something, they would leave over 100 DNA cells, if not more, in touch DNA. So it explains just how microscopic that task was, and a scientific miracle. That barrel, when dumped, had to have been by boat, and it's very likely there are others hidden in the depths of its waters. Incredibly, shortly after the barrel was found, another discovery took place in that area. Lindsay and Lynette Melvin were paddleboarding when they found another set of remains in the sand. They thought they'd actually found a bighorn sheep and decided for fun to dig the bones out of curiosity. This was when they found a skull and immediately contacted park rangers. It's believed this was likely an accidental drowning and unrelated to the first set. It's also a reminder that people should really watch out for clues. Anyone could find human remains at any time. If you do see bones that you think are suspect, please contact the authorities. Thankfully, both of these cases should be solvable through DNA, and if there are more people out there, hopefully they will be found. Currently, Lake Mead is only 30% full, which is the lowest level it's ever been at since it was filled during the Great Depression. This crisis has not only put California and Arizona on high alert, but there might be the start of findings of different people buried in the water in areas that also draw water from Hoover Dam. On the plus side, the technology has now made miracles happen for people who have gone unidentified for decades. I will keep you updated as soon as more details are released. The Lucerne County Jane Doe. This case is a yet-to-be-identified young woman found in 2012 in Newport Township, Pennsylvania. She had been there for a long time, likely since the 1960s, which makes it hard to pinpoint who she might have been. Likely she was born in the 1940s or 1950s. She was either white or possibly Native American or Hispanic. It's just not much to go on. I want to point out how great it is they did multiple representations of what she might have looked like. This is the most I think I've ever seen in a set of reconstructions. In my opinion, this should be the standard. Subtle variations can make all of the difference. This young woman was discovered in November of 2012 on Alden Mountain near Newport Township. Some individuals were digging for relics near an old mine shaft. It was the last thing they wanted to find, but it was a lucky break for the young woman who deserves to be known. It appears she was in her late teens or early 20s and likely a victim of foul play. No one deserves to be buried by a mine shaft. The very circumstances of this case makes the odds for identification without DNA very difficult. Because this is a tough one, authorities are asking for help to fund the DNA process. The process for this one is expensive in part because her bones were exposed to the elements for so long. The funds being raised for this one is through the Luzerne Foundation, and I've provided their contact information on the screen, as well as a phone number you can call if you have any idea who this young woman might have been. Crowdfunding seems a little bit like begging sometimes, but it can do so much good. Please consider a donation to this cause. The Lucerne County Jane Doe has gone unidentified for 9 years. Unofficially, she's been without her name for over 50. The White House, Kentucky John Doe, identified as Ricky Boyd. Ricky Boyd's skull was found in a driveway near White House, Kentucky in 2020. And although he was skeletal, he hadn't gone missing long before, in May of 2020, from South Point, Ohio, which is located about an hour and a half away. He had a wife and kids who had no idea what happened to him. His wife spoke out about how hard it had been for the kids especially, and how thankful they were that they had finally found what happened. He gave the best hugs, his daughter said. He had a great smile and he could fix anything. Anyone with information, please call the number on the screen. Ricky Boyd went unidentified for 2 years. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Take care of yourselves and each other.